Hi, it's Jez here from Nigezza.co.uk, and here we are, another junk journal day. It's Wednesday, and this is my second junk journal, and it's finished. And I've done a fabric cover on this, and been wanting to do one of these for ages. So in this video, I will show you how I created this fold over fabric cover, which I'm managed to bend a page there, that's not a problem, and how I added these pockets as well. Feels really lovely. Just listen to that. So stay tuned and we'll get this made. The journal's finished. I just need to do the cover, but I did want to add one other thing, and I've put in a map page. I did have a little digital printable in there, but decided I wanted something else, and I remembered these that I'd made in a previous video, so I have just stuck these in. It was my intention to use these. That's just a vintage receipt that I bought, and I have scanned it and printed it, and I just wanted to use it, so that gives you lots of space for journaling on the back there. So if we flip over, and I'll just show you what I did. So these, you might remember if you watched the video, that my sewing machine had stopped working by this point, so I sort of drew in faux stitching. Anyway, I bought a new sewing machine, so I sewed around it. So this was just a little tuck pocket there, and I could stick this in by going down three sides and making a pocket, but I just stuck the other one in. But I might do this one on three sides, and then I've got a little secret pocket if I want it. I might therefore punch that actually, so that I did it with a bigger punch. That's a smaller punch. Too many punches. There we go. It was probably a 1.5 inch. It looks like it was. So I could push that down. Yeah. So if I do that, then that might remind me that I might have a pocket behind there. Might not. Memory like a goldfish. Just call me Dory. So one way of remembering actually would be to stuff something in it. That might help. So I'm going to put quite a bit of glue, make this quite a thick edge so that it does stay on. I'll worry about that when I stick things on three sides, whether or not it will hold. So there we go. So the other one I did, I might move it down. I did stick, I was just checking there if I'd managed to put glue on the back. I did stick it in fully down, so there's no pocket on the back of the other one. But I'm going to do it, so I'm going to stick something in there. On my floor beside me I have some digital. Some tags. Right, let's go for one of the tags actually. A thin one. A thick one. There, I'll stick that down there just to remind me that I can use it. Now it's harder to get. Yeah, there we go. No. Right, I'm going to put this in and then stick it down properly. There we go. So that's in that pocket. That's in the pocket behind. And now just give that a few seconds longer than I already have, and that will adhere. And then this is my little tuck pocket here, so I'm just going to put glue around. I have got tutorials on this one, so if you've missed it, go to my playlist where I've done tags and pockets and embellishments, I think I've called it, and you should find it. I will also create a playlist for a second junk journal. I've got a playlist for my first junk journal, so I'll do one for my second, and I'll put all the tutorials in that playlist of things that I've made in here. And then this is a vintage postcard. What I've done is I scanned it and I printed off each side separately, and then I've just stuck it on some coffee dyed paper so that it can reveal a place for journaling. Quite liked that. Nice little old cottage there. I liked the colour of the stamp there and thought it went with the colour of the poppies. And these butterflies, and I thought that was quite a nice little touch there. So that is the journal done, and I say you should find tutorials on everything that I've made in here. So obviously that I didn't make on camera, but it is exactly the same as that, and that I did make on camera. So it's kind of what I do. So yeah, that just needs a little bit longer to stick, and then that will hold it in nicely. Okay, so quite busy. I'm not very good at minimalist. If you saw my house, you'd be able to see that. And this is a lot, I think, less going on than my previous one, because I have actually got plain pages, which I didn't have in my other one. So it is less busy than the other one, but I guess it could be even less busier, but you know, I suppose that's my style. Right, let's just put these things back. So now the cover, and I wanted to do a soft cover. I've got lots of lovely fabrics that I've been buying from charity shops, with the idea of doing a fabric cover. So I got this, let me see that, it's quite close to the camera. It's beautiful hat box, and I thought great place to store fabrics and lace, and I've managed to quite fill it. These are some recent acquisitions that I just tea dyed the other day, and I might put some lace on the pocket. This is some cheesecloth. I bought this off eBay. No, I didn't. I bought it off Amazon. Loads and loads of cheesecloth, and I just tea dyed some. Not quite sure what I'm going to do with it. Lots and lots of laces and braids, so they might go nicely on the front. And this was the fabric I thought I might use. I've got some other laces that I might put on to decorate it, but I'm going to put those back for now and just concentrate on this bit of fabric here. So this was just, I think it's upholstery. Well, it's quite thick, so I don't know if it's upholstery or fabric or curtain fabric. I'm not sure, but it's a nice thick weight, and obviously it's never been used, and I thought this would make a nice cover. Really liked the colours on that. That colour goes perfectly, I think, with my coffee dyed paper, and some of the colours that I've used throughout, but that was my idea, that I would have a nice soft cover, and I wanted it to feel squishy. I looked loads of videos on YouTube and didn't find one that really told me how to do what I want to do, so I kind of made it up. So that is the fabric that I want to use, and I want to sandwich it with something, and I thought of this. Got this great big Jiffy envelope, and I thought, oh, that's got a nice feel to it. I like the crinkle, and it's quite padding, so I decided I just needed the one layer. So what I started doing was try and sort of rip it down, and that didn't quite work. So then I took a pair of scissors and I've started to cut it. So I thought I've rubbed out my dress there. So I thought I'd just get a better pair of scissors and sort of show you what I did. So I'm basically cutting just on the inside of where the seal is. So that is sort of where the bubble wrap is, down there. So I could get a couple of covers out of this quite easily, get 2 big ones, or I could probably get a couple of little ones out of this if I wanted to. This isn't quite as wide, this isn't quite wide enough for what I want to do that way. If we find my thing, it's just not quite wide enough that way, so we will be going this way with it. And I thought I might wrap it round. That was a thought, was to wrap it round. I thought it might look quite pretty. And I've done a little bit of calculations, which I've actually now hidden. So let's write my calculations again. So what I did, and actually this is quite good because that kind of shows you what I'm doing. I sort of measured sort of how wide, and I want it to come out a little bit. So I thought, oh, let's come out to about 6.5. So because I might yet put tabs on there, so we'll come out to 6.5. So we want 6.5, 6.5, and then 6.5 on the back. And then I want to give it a sort of a spiny bit. So I thought I'd come and sort of see how it's sort of opening now. And I thought we'd go to about 1.5. So I thought we'd allow 1.5 for that, which means if I want it folded over, I want another 1.5. Are you with me? This is me. Maths good at, I am. I was actually, I did A-level maths and everything. So yeah, so we've got 1.5 up each side, and then if we want to sort of fold it over and come over a bit, or maybe we'd come over about 2 inches. So these are the sizes. This is me maths. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 halves, which makes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3 6 is 18. So we're looking at 18 inches wide, and this measures 12 to there, and just about 18. So this is just about the right size. So that was lucky, wasn't it? And then height wise, so it's obviously it's 8.25 high because that's a piece of A4. So I think 9's too much. Is it? So if we did 9, we've got quite a bit. So I thought I'd go to about 9.75. I know I've watched lots of journals, and ones in the US, because their paper is 8.5 wide, they go to 9, which I can understand. That gives you an extra ½ inch. Ours is 8.25, so an extra ½ inch is 8.75. So that's what I'm going for, 8.75. So that is the measurements I am looking at. If you're doing centimeters, then we're looking at about 22.5, and then 18 would be 30 plus about 15, so it's about 45 centimeters. I can do that with this ruler because it's a direct comparison. They both start at 0, so I like this ruler. I bought this in one of the US shops. It was either Hobby Lobby or Michael's, might have been Joann's. I went in all three, kind of blurred which one's what I bought where, but I was delighted with this one. And that was one of the things I specifically wanted, because when we buy rulers in the UK, they tend to be fully centimetres, and I don't do it. So I need to cut this down. So if we cut this off first, so it has already started. So I'll cut this end off here. This might go all horribly wrong. I've never done this before, so I don't really know what I'm doing. But, you know, hey ho, it's never stopped me doing anything before. Oh dear. So I decided I was going at 8 3/4. So I'm going to do a little mark at 8 3/4. Pencil might be better. I'll do another mark here at 8 3/4, which is quite hard on bubble wrap. Bingo, light bulb moment. Turn it round, Jez. Yeah, sometimes. I wonder how I ever graduated from university and became a teacher, because sometimes I'm a bit the brain. There we go, 8 3/4. There we go, up here to 8 3/4. And now I'm going to draw a line along there to follow. That will be fine. So, going to cut just the inside of that line because I drew it in pen. So this was just something I got through the post, and what I quite like is that it is proper recycling. So let's see. So my idea is to go about 2 inches there. So going to allow for a bit on the spine there and fold it round. Yeah, that'll be cool. That will encase that quite nicely, and top and bottom we have got some space. Yep, bit of space, that's what we want. Okay, so that's cool. So I need to cut my fabric. I hope this isn't too painful to watch, somebody actually not knowing what they're doing. And luckily I've got a good margin top and bottom, so gonna just cut up there. Good overlap there. I'm giving myself. So I've got sort of the same margin all the way around, which is about 1.5 inches. Don't know why I turned that around because I couldn't actually read it. So we'll go back to this one. Yeah, it's about 1.5 inches there. And yeah, about that on the side. So that's what we've got. So what I need to do now is stick this to that. I'm going to put some Fabri-Tac over this and glue it down. So let's get that done. Right, let me stand up and see what I'm doing. That also allows me to see whether or not I'm in the centre of the camera, and I appear to be. There we go. Sticking that down. Got a bit of a crease along there. I probably should have ironed this, but hey ho. I don't iron. Well, I iron paper now. I don't iron fabric, but maybe that would have been a good idea. I don't want to push so hard that I burst any of those bubbles. But yeah, oh, I like the look of that. I do like the look of that. And it feels nice. Feels nice. I say I wanted a soft cover. So we need to tuck it round, or you could leave it and just zigzag it, but I kind of want it tucked round. So just like I would with, these are my old dressmaking scissors back in the day when I used to make clothes. So I'm going to go right across the diagonal there, but not right up to the edge. That way when we fold over, we don't expose the corner. There we go. And then these can get glued down, and then when that goes over, it folds like so, and so the corners not exposed. So I'm going to do a bit more fabby tack. Gluing this, feel free to fast forward, I might speed this up. So now my thoughts are what to put on the inside, and I think it's probably easiest to just use a bit of this fabric because none of the other fabrics that I've got are actually quite right for it, and that just might be quite nice. I did think about putting paper down, but that would just be quite nice on the inside there. Going to cut it to about the same size, zigzag. Maybe then trim with my pinking shears. There we go. Oh, didn't quite get the end there. So these scissors are probably sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, she's making things again. I'm cutting fabric instead of cutting, well, everything. I've even cut my hair with it. There we go. Right, so I'm going to do a zigzag edge all the way around, and then we'll be ready to adhere it to here, remembering I've got to adhere that. Yep. So I've done the zigzagging. When I started it off, I forgot. So I went on the edge and I forgot I wanted it to come in a little bit. So I've gone over that twice. And I want my pinking shears to cut it zigzag. And now I can't find my pinking shears. So I tidied up. My scissors have a home. And I hadn't put these back in the home. So I just want to go around the edges. They're not the best pinking shears. So that's it all sewn and sort of trimmed down a bit, so that sort of fits quite nicely on there. Gonna have to attach my bit of sari silk there for the fastening, so I'm gonna glue this all down with a bit of Fabitac, and then we'll sew around the edges. So let's glue this bit in. So now I'm going to sew all the way around the outside of this. I think I might do a straight stitch all the way around the outside, and then we'll think about sewing the signatures in. So that's it all sewed round the outside, and what I also did was I sewed in where the sort of two spines are going to be. So I've sort of measured 6.5 from there, and then 1.5, and then another 6.5, and then another 1.5. So we've got sort of the areas where it's going to fold, so it's got a little bit of shape, maybe slightly too long there, but hey ho, it's my first one, I'm learning, and yeah, I quite like it. Lovely feel to it. So now I've got a point now where I can see where I'm going to sew my signatures in. That's what I wanted, and I thought by sewing it down, that gives me an area to go by. So I need a little template. Did make one. I've no idea where it is, so gonna make another. So I do have some scraps here, which, yeah, is the width of A4. So let's gonna fold it in half, fold it in half that way, fold it in half that way, and then back that way half, fold in half there, and then back that way half. So that is where I'm going to put my holes. There, there, and there. So that will be where we'll put them, and then we can lay this between the two stitching, and we can see there where the holes, well, where the sewing's gonna be. So I don't need to put holes in this one, so I'm just going to sew the thread through, but we need to get some holes set in this one. So I'm just checking. I don't think I've got anything halfway along any of these sheets. No, I haven't. So, get my big bulldog clips. I'm trying to remember now. Remember. You tidied up, Jez. Where did you think was a good idea for those? Goodness only knows. Everything's up the right way. Do not want to sew a pocket on a page on upside down. The map was out of line. I think that's put it back in. Paper doily, might need to move up a tad. I think that's okay. So just move those out of the way a sec. So that is where it's got to go, along there. So there we are. So now we need a nice big thing to make a hole. Let's put a little bit of that behind. What's that gone? Yes! Cooking on gas. Yep. Oh. Yeah. So got that nicely going along there. Happy with that. So I need my cotton and I need my big needle now. So I'm doing the 3-stitch pamphlet stitch. So got me linen thread there, so I just measure 3 times the height of the book to get the right amount. So I'm just lining it up because the first stitch has to go through the pages and then obviously to the centre of the cover, which I decided not to put a hole in, so I'm kind of working on a bit of guesswork. So all the way through, just going to attach that thread to hold in place so that I can work out where to put the stitch from the outside. So I'm going to get a ruler and measure the distance so that I know where to insert my needle on the cover to come back through that hole. And then I'm just looking down to make sure I get the actual hole. So that's pulling it up tight, going back through the centre hole, coming out, making sure I'm going through the hole and not making a new one, because you want to make sure that maybe not making holes in the cover was a mistake, I don't know. Anyway, I went with it. So pulling that through and then measuring again to make sure I find the right place at the top and pulling that through, and then I just slide the needle underneath that first stitch and then just pull the threads really tight, checking that they're taut on the back, and then just tie a couple of knots, and that's it. Can leave them dangling or trim them, and that is my signature, nice and secure in there. And that is my soft cover. Like so, first soft cover. Well, it may not be perfect, it may not be as pretty as it could be, but I like it. I like the feel. I think next time I won't do a fold over, but I quite like that. I think this needs a little bit of trimming down, which I might do. What my thoughts are was I might trim a bit of this off, because it does feel like it's too big. So I might trim that end and then add a little bit of seam binding to finish it off on my sewing machine. I think that's what I'm going to do. Scary, Jez, scary, you're scaring me. Do I need to do anything at the top? Yeah, a little tad off the top. It's not straight, I don't think. I think it's shorter and wider. So I'm going to do that so I can kind of see from there where it needs to come off. Anybody watching this going, what's she doing? Because I'm going, what am I doing? I could even take a little bit more off. I think this is over too much. So I think this just needs a tad straightening up. Yeah, that feels right now. So I'm going to put some trim on this. I might sew some of this around it. Yep, I think that'll look good. So I'm going to sew that on. Right, it's been a couple of days since I was doing this, and I think I was just sewing the bit of sari silk onto the edging, and because I just trimmed this, but I'd literally finished sewing this on, and there was a knock on my door, and it was a police officer saying we had to evacuate. Yeah, a little bit scary. There was a strange device found a few doors down. They were waiting for the bomb squad. So never dull in all is what they say. So yeah, what do you take from your house when you think that it might possibly be blown up? I took this. That's what I took. It was like, oh, I haven't finished it. I haven't photographed it. So I took this. And I took my MacBook and car keys, phone and chargers. Yeah. And yeah, it was, yeah, strange. I actually, wanted to take the entire craft room, but, I didn't have a bag big enough. But anyway, yeah, so it's been a while. So yeah, so I was just thinking I need to do something down here. And yeah, the device was made safe, and we all came back a few hours later. But yeah, needed something for this. So I looked through my little hat box and didn't have anything that quite went. So then I went to my wardrobe and I found this. Now this is a skirt, and it's made of embroidery anglais. It's got bits of lace and ribbon in. It's got this lovely trim at the bottom, and I've had this decades, not worn it in decades, and it's a brilliant match of a colour. So I think I'm going to cut a bit of this embroidery anglais to go down this spine, and that would be lovely on another journal. And this bit of trim is quite lovely as well. So I'm going to cut into this. I've got masses and masses and masses, so I'm going to get that cut. So I took the frill off the bottom, and each of the ends of each sort of bit of fabric's got this sort of ribbon sewn on it, and I thought I really liked the raggedy edges of it, so I thought I'm going to utilise that. I've got this lovely bit of trim as well, so I've cut this. Well, I ripped it. I wanted ripped edges, not cut edges. So my thoughts are wrap that round on the back side, sort of pull it even. On the back side, I'm just gonna put that trim along there. Quite liked the look of that. And then on this side, I'm gonna put this beautiful bit of lace trim, and then put a bit of that over it, and then add a bit of that on this side as well. And I thought that would finish it off really nicely. And then I thought I wanted to do some pockets on the inside, and my thoughts were maybe some lace, but now I've got this fabric, I'm thinking that I might make a pocket out of this. So one for the front and one for the back, and I'm gonna sew them so it's doubled over, so that it, I think a raggedy edge would be, I don't know, I just didn't think it would be robust enough, so I think I'm going for that. So we'll stick these bits on first. So I'm just going to check where I need to have it, and then I'm going to stick half at a time. So I've gone down one half so that I can stick the piece of fabric folded in half on it, so that way I know I've got it centered. And then I'm putting the Fabri-Tac on to stick the other side down and see any bits that I might have missed. And then I'm going to stick that bit of lace trim on, which is quite hard because there's lots of holes in it, so I'm putting it where there is solid bits to stick that down. And then I'm going to take the lace trim and stick that down, and that will go through some of the holes and make it a little bit more secure there. And put that piece of raggedy ribbon on the back just to give it a nice little finish off. And then just see where there's bits where I've missed with my glue, just to make it more secure. And then that's that bit done, and then we just need to put that trim on the other side, and that's that bit. And then we're just cutting up this embroidery anglais to sort of size it for the inside pockets that I want to do. I'm going to do one on each. So there's the pockets done. So I just stitched round the 4 sides and then added a bit of sari silk at the top to give it a little bit of a good end. And so I've stuck that one down on the 3 sides, so that forms a nice firm pocket there. I used my Fabri-Tac, and then I've just put another one of these postcards that I've done in there, and a tag in there, and then I've just added this tag. Can't find the paper clips for now, so that will just have to do, and I'll change it eventually. So yeah, all I did, I just put a tag there, and so just need a bit of Fabri-Tac. And what I did while sewing was I just used a glue stick to turn these ends over and then sewed on top, and that held it quite nicely. When I was a proper sewer, I would tack things down and then sew, and when that got really clever, I could put my pins in and put my pins in that way, and then I could sew over them, and 9 times out of 10 I didn't break my needle. And I did the same with this sari silk, and that's how I did it on here as well. I just put a glue stick on it, and that held it in place so that I could sew. And then I just thought, I've got this was an Artie Mays freebie, and I just printed some vintage ledger paper on the other side, so I thought that would go nicely in there. And I've got these tags I made, I think I might put those in. That one's quite light actually, doesn't it? Either needs a bit of darkening up, or we'll put a different one in. That's got the same flowers actually as there. So there we go. Just a little something for the front, and that is it done. So I decided actually I needed something on the other side. I felt it didn't look finished off, so I found this bit of lace, not quite dark enough, so I've just used some ink to darken it up. Taking a bit of that raggedy ribbon, and I'm feeding it through the holes so that it's sort of linked in, and trying it out, deciding actually it's not wide enough, so I'm going to get a bit of the embroidery anglais fabric and put it behind it so it kind of matches the other side. So sort of ripping that to the right size, and then it's just a matter of taking Fabri-Tac and sticking that to the fabric, and then in the same way as I did before, just stick it along the outside of the cover. And you remember when I did those stitched lines, they really help with the positioning of it. And that is it finished off. Looks less plain now. And now we've got that matching the back there. And obviously as it gets chunky, this will move over a bit more. And that's it, done. So I'll do a flick through and I'll make a playlist with my second junk journal, and you can check out any that you might have missed. Okay, thank you. Hope you've enjoyed that. I've certainly enjoyed making my first soft cover and my second journal. Love it. I think I might find some danglies for this, so I'll have that on there for the flip through.